The 2025 college football season has already started, but we're seeing some of the biggest names in the nation lace them up ahead of this week 1 of the 2025 college football season. To help you know who to look out for from a draft perspective, we are going to be giving you our top 10 draft prospects heading into the 2025 season. Understandably, there is a whole season of college football still to play. Things are inevitably going to change, but right now, these are the guys that you need to know about. I am joined by my co-host, Nick Corbs. I do not know his top 10. He does not know mine, so there will be live reactions to our lists. Nu, are you excited to talk some college football?
I am. Week 0 is in the books. Week 1 also in the books. And I am so excited to talk about some college football. We're as passionate about this as we are about the NFL. The NFL draft we love. And anytime we get to scout and talk about college players is always a good day.
Yeah, this is our bread and butter, I would say, on this channel. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already to not miss any NFL content, any college football content. We are going to be churning that out all throughout the season, so you do not want to miss a video. Make sure you subscribe right now. Leave a like, send it out to other college football and NFL draft fans, and make sure you leave a comment as well. Have you missed anyone out? We are still scouting all of these guys. There might be a name that we don't even know about yet, so leave a note in the comments. Let us know who we should be watching, and we will get around to it. We're going to be doing this in groups of first 4, going over our 10, 9, 8, and 7th player, and then in 3. So, Nu, kick us off with your 10 through 7.
So at number 10, I've got Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame. 9, Jordan
Nice.
Tyson, the receiver out of Arizona State.
Okay.
8, I've got Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback out of LSU. And then finally, I've got Drew Aller, the quarterback out of Penn State.
Oh, interesting. Okay, my 10. At number 10, I've got Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver from USC. At number 9, I've got Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State. Number 8, I've got Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame. And at number 7, I've got Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle from Miami. Let's start with Jeremiah Love then, Nu, because he is someone that we've both got in this region, the running back for Notre Dame. How would you summarize Jeremiah Love in, let's say, 2 sentences or 1 sentence?
Big, strong, fast.
3 words.
Yeah, he's 6 foot. He'll run a probably 4.4 flat when it comes to the combine. You know, I think we've been blessed with this year with having Hampton and Genty in the draft, so people might not see Jeremiah Love as such a good prospect because of how outstanding they were. But he's amazing in his own right. Was really strong in the college football playoff. Was a really focal point to that Notre Dame offense. So I'm a big on Jeremiah Love, Dom. What do you think?
Yeah, Jeremiah Love, I think, is going to be a consensus top 10 player for most people. Yes, he's a running back, and that is going to impact kind of where people will rank him with positional value. But Jeremiah Love is that next great running back prospect. There's kind of one every year, maybe a few in the case of last year, but he is an absolutely fantastic talent. He's a complete 3-down, NFL-ready running back. I said to Trevor Sycamore, lead draft analyst of PFF, did a mock draft with him. If you haven't checked that out, then go and check that out. It's the last video on this channel. I gave a comparison that he's like Indiana Jones that reaches for his hat just as the boulder's about to crush it. Like, he manages to get through holes just before they close. He can get skinny and get through them. He's a home run threat. Once he's gone, he's gone. You cannot catch Jeremiah Love. There's an entire cut of him on Twitter, I believe, of his breakaway runs. He is just running away from everyone, quite literally. Once he's gone, he's gone. Strong vision, decisive runner. I think that I want to see him a bit more involved in the pass game this year for Notre Dame. That's kind of what we want to see from all NFL running backs in the modern NFL, is being able to impact the passing game. I think he can. It's just the fact that he isn't allowed to, really. He's not given that role in that offense. And I don't think he's as shifty as a Ashton Genty or a Bijan Robinson or a Jahmyr Gibbs. It's kind of be like my only, if I'm being really nitpicky right now, that's kind of like my only criticism of him. But he is, stronger than Gibbs. And so I think that kind of, and he's bigger than Genty, so it kind of comes with the territory of being a bit bigger. But this guy, if I had to put money right now on a prospect being a lock for a first round, I'd put Jeremiah Love pretty high up there. But then you had Jordan Tyson where in your list, Nu?
So I had him as my number 9 overall player, my number 1 overall receiving prospect, the wide receiver out of Arizona State. I'm such a big fan of him, Dom. He is so physical, so strong. He's an absolute beast in that intermediate game, which I really think you can make your money in your NFL. He's got the sticky hands. And we said before he went on his wide receiver coach, Hines Ward, we used to play for the Steelers. He's living by his mantra of make the block, get the block. He is so physical in the run game. I love watching him. He's a Brit Ball receiver who just happens to have NFL-style talent. I know I'm only number 9 on him, but he's someone that I could see, similar to how I fell in love with Ted McMillan early in the process last year, someone who I could really see going up and up boards.
Yeah, Jordan Tyson is the only wide receiver from last year to get 1,000 yards that is still eligible this year. So he had 1,095 receiving yards last year, 75 receptions, 10 touchdowns. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. He's my 18th ranked player, and he's not my wide receiver 1. I'll talk about my wide receiver 1 after this, but we'll talk about Tyson for a bit longer. I think Tyson is a really good prospect. I think he knows exactly how to separate. He has this little like skip almost where he kind of like lulls the defender to sleep, like kind of cuts right in front of him. He's very agile and he's got very good like route running ability. I think he can really sell a crosser and then turn out on the blink of an eye. For me with Jordan Tyson though, and why I was almost a bit disappointed by him, is because I was expecting a kind of that alpha wide receiver 1, that dominant Jamar Chase kind of top 5 overall pick kind of wide receiver. And I don't think he's really that kind of player. I think he's quite slight physically. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. I'd like to see him put a bit more muscle on that frame, especially when he's kind of going against NFL physicality. I think he's very slender, really. I think he often struggles to break away. He breaks away from contact rather than having to play through it. And in the NFL, if someone's pressing you, you've got to play through it for the most part. And when he's lined up against press in college, he takes a big wide angle right around that defensive back. And in the NFL, it's not really going to fly. So for me, I thought it was interesting. He's definitely a wide receiver 1 potential, but that kind of wide receiver 1B potential, I would say. Kind of like a Devonta Smith almost. Like, yeah, very good player. I mean, Smith won the Heisman, but Smith isn't a wide receiver 1 in his own right. So for me, that's why Tyson isn't as high. My wide receiver 1, though, is Mekhi Lemon from USC. Now, Lemon is also not really a wide receiver 1, but why I trust Lemon more than I trust Tyson at the moment is because of Lemon's speed. He is just so quick. He is always running at full speed. Now, every player has to slow down when they're cutting or when they're breaking down. Lemon doesn't seem to need to. He can almost basically lose no speed when he's cutting. He's got really sharp cuts, even for the speed that he's going at. He's really good after the catch. That he had a play against Penn State where he finds the soft spot in zone and then just takes off and no one can catch him. And at the line of scrimmage, his acceleration is bonkers. He's quick, he's fast, he's got good acceleration. He's just like he's not a speedster. He's not like a Tyreek Hill. It's not like a gimmick for him. He doesn't just win with speed. He's a very good smaller wide receiver who is just very quick as well. Now, he might be seen as a bit more of a slot guy. He had 85% of his snaps in the slot last year, which is very high. I think he can be a very good Z receiver off the line of scrimmage in motion. He is only 5'10", 190 pounds. Question about his physicality too. But what I'm saying about Lemon, which is not the same with Tyson, you can't be physical with what you can't touch. You know, if you have that agility off the line of scrimmage and you've got the speed to run away from coverage, they can't put a finger on you anyway. So I know he doesn't have the ideal height and build, but man, this boy can play. And I'm done with the smaller wide receiver propaganda, I would say.
You are the biggest hammer of that propaganda of all time. Tez Johnson, you were like hammering for to be like a second round pick. He's 5'6".
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm rejecting the propaganda that they can't be good.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you there.
Who was your 10?
So I had Jeremiah Love,
Jordan Tyson,
Garrett Nussmeier, and Drew Aller.
Okay, let's talk about Nussmeier.
Yeah, so Nussmeier, I think he's not one of my guys early on. His talent is undeniable, but I don't like his lack of athleticism. He's sort of Josh Allen, but if Josh Allen wasn't physical. He sort of stands in the pocket, but he's not really a surgeon. I don't think he's got that precision needed to be a pure pocket passer in the NFL. So I'm slightly low on him, but I think his stats and his talent is still undeniable. So that's why he's not quite in the top 5 for me.
Okay, and then Drew Aller for you. Where do you have Drew Aller?
Just a place above at 7.
So I have Drew Aller at 19 on mine. So let's talk about Drew Aller. So I think that Drew Aller is more like Josh Allen if Josh Allen was a bit of a catfish. Like Drew Aller is 6'4", 237 pounds, but a pocket passing quarterback. Like he looks like he should be the next great, like Cam Newton, Josh Allen, the next big physical dual threat quarterback. He's definitely not though.
I don't know. I disagree, Dom. I saw him in the flesh play against Maryland. And I see it. I think this year will prove us wrong. And again, he is someone that could really be, end of the first round. Like he could really make or break his stock this year, but I'm buying into it big time.
I like Allah, and I think that he could definitely really play himself into the first overall pick if he plays well. He's playing for Penn State. He's got new wide receivers this year. Yes, they lost Tyler Warren, but it was kind of almost hurting him by only having one player that he could really throw to. Drew Aller, though, is all world in terms of his arm strength, arm talent. You name it, he can make that throw. There's a 4th and 10 against Oregon where he's got a defender who is literally spinning him away. His passing arm is being spun away from the end zone where he's throwing to. So he's got no hip action. In fact, his hips are going against where he's trying to throw it. Just with his arm and his wrist, he's able to drill it into the end zone for a touchdown. Like, that's the kind of arm talent which can make you right even when you're wrong, basically. He can throw 20 yards at the flick of his wrist. He can launch it with touch at all 3 levels of the field. There's not a throw that Drew Aller can't make, and that's really what you need from an NFL quarterback. And he's very good at avoiding negative plays. He's good at avoiding sacks and good at avoiding interceptions, and can progress really nicely through his reads. He's got a really strong foundation. With Aller, for me, though, is that his accuracy, I think, can be very spotty when he's moving off his first read. And I think he's a bit too conservative. That's what I'm saying. It's like Josh Allen if you kind of took away his running ability and you took away that big play mentality. You have the physical tools and the arm strength, great, and that's nothing to wave a stick at. But there are some facets of Aller's game that concerns me a bit, which is the accuracy and the conservative play style. And also, he's not really a big-time player. He had his worst games in the playoffs. And that's not really going to get you very far either. So he's not the quarterback he looks like for me. I would say that at the moment he's a Gen Z better PR Jared Goff.
Oh no, outrage! that is S tier rage, mate. And I'm not falling for it.
That is actually. I've
correct.
used Jared Goff as a comparison for another quarterback in this class.
I think Nussmeier's like Jared Goff. I think that's more.
No, bad take. We're going to talk about Nussmeier later because Nussmeier is higher ranked to me. So have we covered then your top 4 players? Nick?
Yeah, and so I think we need to cover Caleb Downs for you, Dom.
Yes, so Caleb Downs not in your top 10. Some people would argue.
He is in my top 10. I just haven't said him yet.
Then let's save him. Let's save Caleb Downs for when you have him. We've got Jeremiah Love. Have you got Francis Mauigoa in yours?
I don't.
So let's talk about Francis Mauigoa and then we'll move on to our next batch. So Francis Mauigoa is the offensive tackle for Miami. He's my OT2. He's really reliable and experienced in pass protection. He was Cam Ward's pass blocker last year. Not a very easy challenge blocking for a quarterback like Cam Ward, who will hold onto the ball for a long time. But Mauigoa was part of the reason why Ward was able to do that. He is really good at using his hands independently. It's like his hands have got, controlled by 2 different people, basically. He kind of knows exactly where they are and they can kind of hand fight separately, which is very useful for an offensive tackle. He can bait defenders with one and kind of attack with the other. And he's really good in space and as a puller. Thing is, for me with Mauigoa, and I think he might end up being a bit lower for me pretty soon, actually, especially against Texas in week 1. Are they playing Texas in week 1, Miami? No. Who are they playing in week 1? They've got a matchup against a ranked opponent.
Yeah, it's not Texas.
Texas. Anyway, I will get Paddy to fact check that. I can't remember who it is, but it's another ranked opponent. Anyway, I don't love his anchor. I think that's what you need to be a good pass protector in the NFL is that ability to withstand power and withstand a bull rush. And in the ACC, you don't really see a lot of those guys. Yeah, you might see them in for Clemson, and we'll talk about the Clemson defenders soon, I'm sure. But the level is not, it's not like you're playing in the SEC. And I think that he's not a nasty blocker. He's he's not finishing blocks on top of someone. He's not pancaking them, blocking off the screen. I want my offensive tackle to be not a nice guy, let's say, right, on the field. I want them to be nasty. I want them to play mean. And I think he leaves something for me to be desired for me. But I think my bottom line for him is he's a very solid, high floor kind of player. And it'll be interesting to see kind of where he sets his ceiling this year. But let's reveal our next 3, Snoo. So who do you have at 6th, 5th, and 4th? So
I got TJ Parker, the edge out of Clemson. I've got Lenoris.
All the way down at 6.
I've got Lenoris Sellers, quarterback out of South Carolina. And then I got Caden Proctor, the tackle out of Alabama.
Okay, wow, right. So at 6, I've got Keldrick Folk, the defensive lineman from Auburn. At 5, I've got Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle from Utah. And at 4, I've got Garrett Nussmeier. So we'll obviously talk about Nussmeier, but who did you have at 6?
I had TJ Parker at 6.
Okay, there's not a chance in hell we're talking about TJ Parker now because I'm going to talk about TJ Parker later.
Okay, so I'll talk about Lenoris Sellers then.
Let's talk about Sellers.
So Sellers has the highest upside of anyone in this draft. I think that is undoubtable. Unarguable. If you watch his tape against Clemson, that is the first overall pick playing football right there. The issue is, Dom, that we talked about
Interesting.
before. He's inexperienced. He's young, and he's very raw. I think the Lamar Jackson comparisons are oftentimes lazy with athletic quarterbacks coming out. But similar to Lamar Jackson at Louisville, he sails on his deep balls sometimes. He really isn't accurate down the field, but he still has that talent. I'm such a big fan of him. I think he can win games. I see the leadership in him. But at the same time, like with Drew Aller, he is a boom or bust prospect, but he can really raise the stock this year, even if he just shows chances of, even just shows glimpses of success.
I think the better comparison for Sellers is Anthony Richardson, personally. He's my QB4. He's my 14th ranked player. He is his athleticism and his physical tools are elite. 6'3", 242 pounds, 842 rush yards, rocket for an arm. Like, that guy it comes with heat when he throws it at you. Quick release, fantastic sack evasion potential. And that was one of the Clemson highlight plays that you're referencing, right? Like, he out of a TJ Parker would be dead to right sack, it became a Lenora Sellers highlight reel play. And he's got fantastic potential, but him as a passer is the biggest question for me. The Clemson play, after he broke out of that sack, he didn't even look at a wide receiver who was wide open for a touchdown, and it was an incomplete pass instead. So, like, the thing is, for me, there's one against Bama where he also got, like, rocked by an edge defender, rolled out of the back of the end zone, had a receiver down the sideline, sailed it over his head. So you have these amazing plays with Sellers, but then if you watch the next one or even continue watching the rest of that play, you see the ugly side of his game. He is a really high variance player at the moment for me. I think the potential is absolutely there. And at this early in the season, I really like his potential to be a top 3 pick. I do, but I wonder if the Anthony Richardson comparisons. Well, to be fair, he won't be as inexperienced because he would have had 2 years of starting. So it's not necessarily about the experience for me with Sellers. It's more about the physical tools mixed with the accuracy, which I think might be Sellers' ultimate undoing, because he has 16 turnover-worthy plays for only 19. He has 16 big-time throws for only 19 turnover-worthy plays. Like, he's late to pull the trigger. He's got poor accuracy. I think as a passer, it's just not quite there. For me, he kind of fits into that Jalen Milroe, Anthony Richardson kind of section of quarterbacks, which are fantastic talents, all world potential. But I need to see more. And this season, Sellers could take himself out of that. Do you think he will this season take himself out of that?
I think so. Yes, I think so. I like Beamer. I like the head coach down in South Carolina. I think they're going to be a really good team and surprise a lot of people.
Because when I did my mock draft with Trevor, I said that the Jets would take Sellers because that would be a great transition from Justin Fields and the offense they're running there. So, like, I can see that's kind of quarterback that you draft to try and win a Super Bowl. But is it the type of quarterback you win if you want to keep your job? Is the question I ask with Lenora Sellers. That's the ultimate risk reward there. Who was your sixth?
So I was Parker, which we'll talk about later, and then Caden Proctor was my 4th overall.
Caden Proctor. Let's talk about Caden Proctor because he's not in my top 10. What did you think about Proctor?
So, like you said with the tackle out of Miami, Caden Proctor is the opposite. He is mean. He makes these SEC edge rushers look like children out there. He's a grown man playing amongst boys. He has that. I think his anchor, like you said, which you were questioning before with his anchor is undeniably great. You don't see him get embarrassed. You don't see him get bull rushed. You don't see him get barreled over. So for me, I really see the success of Proctor. I don't know necessarily about his athleticism. I don't think it's super elite. I think he's one of those classic, just like big boys who just likes to hurt people. But listen, that's had a lot of success in the NFL, and that's why he's my 4th overall player.
I've got Proctor as my OT4, and he's at 20 for me. I can see why people like Proctor, like yourself. Like, that is kind of where he is at the moment in line with consensus. He's a behemoth. He's 6'7", 360 pounds. That is 98th percentile weight. Like, this guy is ginormous. He has an unbelievable anchor. Obviously, with his size, that's just inherent. And I think he's got a good level of athleticism as well. He's not just a big boy. Like, he makes blocking look easy, even against good opponents. He is just moving people at will. But when you're 360 pounds, you are going to be a slower mover. It's just physics. It's just how things work. And that trade-off in movement skills is what concerns me the most. I think speed around the edge could definitely get him. He's not got light feet, and he just kind of wins by being massive. He's not winning with, like, refined technique either. For me, I'm worried about a Mekhi Becton-esque outcome for Proctor. Just that, and he was drafted top 10 to the Jets, like, with, as a good player, but just so big, like, and the movement skills aren't there. He's now moved to guard. He's, had a bit of a career resurgence. So it remains to be seen again. There's a whole season to be played here for Proctor and for all of these players. So it might be the case that they prove us or me or whoever wrong. But I don't love those immovable behemoth offensive lineman. I didn't love who did the Cowboys draft from Alabama this year? The left guard.
Oh my, I'm completely blanking.
Yeah. Who was it? Because it was him and Proctor on the left side of that Alabama
Yeah.
offensive line, and Milrow was just running behind them every single play. So
Tyler Booker.
I like nice Tyler Booker. I like Proctor a lot, but not a top 10 for me. So have we covered then your 6-5-4?
Yeah, is there anyone that you want to highlight, Dom, in your 6-5-4?
Yes, so I'll talk about Keldrick Falk from Alabama. He's my edge 3 or my DT2. So he is, if you haven't watched him, he's unbelievable, genuinely unbelievable. He's 6'6", 288 pounds. He had 45 pressures and 6 sacks last year. I describe him as a free-ranging QB terrorizer. You can line him up all over your defensive line from shade nose, so just outside the center, to wide 9, so outside the offensive tackle, and he can get the job done. And I've seen him win at all of those alignments. He's a really good, effective pass rusher. He can get low, use his hands, has an inside counter, can use power. Really high upside with that physical tool. 6'6", great arm length, good weight, quick. For me, though, he is inconsistent. He's not putting it together rep after rep. I want that to change this year. That's kind of what I want to see from him, is more consistency. He needs polishing as a pass rusher. He's shown flashes, but not that consistency again. And is he a bit of a tweener? You know, is he? That's what I kind of don't like with these defensive players that have multiple alignments, because are you a player? Are you a positionless player, or are you a player without a position? Is kind of what it is for Falk. I think I would prefer him at defensive tackle, to be honest with you, with that pass rushing skills that he has is where I would prefer him. And there's so much like with him. If he takes another step, he's going to be really good. And then Spencer Fano is my OT1. Great movement skills, bonkers athlete. He's quick, fluid, just glides in pass protection. Good luck using speed around the edge with him, because you can't. He's a finisher. He'll end blocking reps with him on top of you. He's pass blocking. He's pushing rushers around the arc of the quarterback to go off the screen. He's really damn good. I think he needs to put on a bit of weight. He only played last year at 291 pounds. He needs to be in that 310-pound range, ideally, I would say. Anchor isn't great. I think if he puts on more weight, that will improve. And the power will also improve with his weight as well. But also what I'd say for Spencer Fano is that an offensive lineman wearing a number in the 50s gives them extra aura.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
If I was an offensive lineman, I would guarantee myself a number in the 50s. 70s has got no aura. You need to be in the 50s. He's got a 50s number. He's got aura.
Listen, Spencer Fano is my 3rd overall player. And my favourite thing about him, he's got 23 starts at both left and right tackle. So I combined, I think, 11 at right and 13 at left. He's got the best CV of all time. He's like, I'm just graduated uni. He's like a grad who's had 3 years of work experience coming out. His CV is by far better than any of the others tackles, and I agree. I think Utah's a great tackle college. I think he's got so much experience. And
you want it from somewhere like that. You want it from like a nasty place,
Iowa,
or like Nebraska or Utah. Yeah,
you're on a farm strong boy. That's what Spencer Fano is. My number 2 player is.
Hang on, let's talk about Nussmeier. Nussmeier. Who did you say he was like? You said he was like.
I said Josh Allen's not a great comp, but I said he's a pocket passer, but he's not a surgeon, and that really
yes,
me.
That's true. That's why I like Nussmeier, though. I would describe him as a fearless pocket passing gunslinger. Basically, like he is like. Yeah, he's kind of like a Josh Allen if you force him to win from the pocket every single time.
Maybe?
Yeah, Stafford is a good one. I've got Tony Romo here. Like I think Stafford's a really good one. Like. You often think about pocket passers like, I don't know, a Goff or someone like that kind of being like a field general, and they play within the confines of the offense, and they play mistake-free football is what you kind of associate pocket passes with. Nussmeier is not that. He is that gunslinger. He's going to rip it. I mean, I've seen him throw into the most insane windows ever, like seams which are covered and somehow become open the second the ball's about to hit the receiver's hands. He can make insanely difficult throws, layering it over linebackers, having it in front of safeties. He had 26 big-time throws last year versus 18 turnover-worthy plays. He's a YOLO player. And I always like YOLO players. I like Drake May, like Josh Allen. I like those players that just say, F it. Someone's got to be open. They close their eyes and just heave it down there. I like that. I think he's got good footwork. I think he can attack the middle of the field. I think Nussmeier is really good. What I would say about Nussmeier, though, is that I want to see consistency from him as well. I think there's a great highlight reel from him, but it's a scattergun of different games and different throws. I want to see him put it together for, a whole game, for a whole season, really, which LSU need this year. LSU need Nussmeier to elevate the team and take them to the playoffs, because if they don't make the playoffs, it's the end of the era with Brian Kelly in Baton Rouge down there. And what worries me, as a pocket passer, 4/5 of his offensive line are gone. They were drafted last year. That's not good for a pocket passing quarterback. And he's got Clemson week 1. And we'll talk about that defensive line in just a moment now. So that could be a problem. But I really like Nussmeier. So talk to me then, Nu. You've got Spencer Fano at 3.
And at 2, I have Cade Klubnik, the quarterback out of Clemson. And at 1, I have Caleb Downs, the safety out of Ohio State.
Wait. Hang on. Say that to me again? Where's Peter Woods, Nu? Where's Peter Woods?
He's not on my top 10.
Peter Woods is not in your top 10. Oh my God.
Explains to me why I should be, Dom.
Okay, hang on. Let's not rush this. So I've got my 3rd ranked player is TJ Parker from Clemson. He's my edge 1. My 2nd ranked player is Cade Klubnik from Clemson. He's my QB 1. And my 1st ranked player is Peter Woods, the defensive tackle from Clemson. So who did you have at 2?
Cade Klubnik as well.
Okay, let's talk about Klubnik then, because we both got him at 2. You start this.
Like you said with Sellers, there's those quarterbacks that can win you a Super Bowl that can also lose you your job. Cade Klubnik is not going to lose you your job. He is, I think, he's the safest out of the top 5 by a long way. I think the issue that I had with Nussmeier personally is that there's not many archetypes of the pocket passing, gunslinger, YOLO ball. As you say, there's Stafford, Romo, there's a few. Cade Klubnik is a prototypical NFL quarterback. I think he's got plus athleticism, plus arm, and also he's on a really good Clemson team. In my opinion, Clemson, I think, are the favourites to win the college football playoffs. I think they're the best team in college football. I think Cade Klubnik's one of the better players on that team. So I think...
truth to power, no?
Exactly. So I think throughout this year, players will rise and fall, but Cade Klubnik's stock, I think, is rock solid.
Yeah, I love Klubnik. He's my QB1. And I think we will also touch on Manning as well after this in just a second, because people might be wondering why he's not in our list, and we'll explain that. But Klubnik... the steps that he took, I watched his first game against Georgia, and then I watched his last game against Texas, and it was night and day. Like, against Georgia, he was drifting out the back of the pocket, he was inaccurate, he was playing scared. By the time he plays Texas, which is, I would argue, as good as Georgia last year with their defense, they had 12 players drafted Texas last year. That's an NFL caliber defense. He was ripping it all over the field. 5 big-time throws, layering it over defenders, just an amazing performance. His ball placement is really good, not always completely consistent just yet, but when it's a dime, man, Klubnik's dimes are dimes. Like, it is right in the breadbasket, perfectly in stride. When he can throw, a corner out perfectly, a fade down the sideline, he's got those throws in his repertoire. He's able to progress through reads. He can hit the backside of digs. He can go from 1 to 2. And I just love his mobility as well. I think he's not a dual threat, but he's got enough wiggle to him to keep you honest. You give him a read option once a game, and that's going to help in the run game when he pulls that thing and takes off for 20 yards in the cloud of dust. That's going to help the run game in the long run as well. He had a 55-yard touchdown run against NC State. I do think, though, where the issue with Klubnik lies is that he does have subpar physical tools. I said this in the video I did with Trevor, the mock draft, and someone commented saying he's 6'2", which is the same height as Mahomes. And I was like, no. He's 6'2", 210 pounds. 210 pounds, like 30 percentile in weight for a quarterback. And he's only got an okay arm. He's got good accuracy. He's kind of like, a bit like Joe Burrow in that sense, I guess. Like, yeah, it's not gonna come down with snow on it. He's not gonna put it up into Rosie and have it come down, and he's not gonna throw it with insane zip. But he's very accurate and can throw it on time. And I just think that the subpar physical tools with the height and the weight and then the arm is something to keep an eye on, I would say. I think his pocket awareness as well. It did happen against Georgia and got better, but I want to see him, really be commanding in that pocket. The subtle movements that you need to win from there really help. And I want to see him throw with more anticipation. I think at the moment last year, he was waiting to see his receivers open before he was throwing the ball. I want to see him really just spin it with confidence, a bit almost like Nussmeier, really, and just say, let's just spin this thing. Because he's got good wide receivers and he's in a good team, you're right. I think, though, for me with Nussmeier, and I'll be interested to hear your take on this, Noon, he's going to have to win in the NFL with subpar physical tools, like a Joe Burrow, like a Bryce Young, is what I've written down here. It's my kind of pro comps. It's not impossible, but I think it does give you a slightly lower floor than it does a higher ceiling. I think when you say, like, yeah, he's someone that NFL GMs would definitely take a bet on, I agree with you, but I could see them liking someone like Drew Aller almost more than Klubnik.
So you're talking about Klubnik here, so you said Nussmeier earlier. This is Klubnik you're talking about.
Yeah, sorry, this is Klubnik, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's true, but also I do think that his athleticism and his off-the-ball throw on the run is not bad. I think when people think of bad athlete, I think you do think of not athletic. I think you're right, he's not a massive bloke. He's not going to be running over linebackers like Josh Allen, or throwing off his hip like Patrick Mahomes. I think that's a very good point that you made, but I don't agree with you, but I'm not sure why I can't. This is basically,
yeah. You're a club truther like me. We're in it together.
I think let's just see, because I think that's a very valid criticism that we can only really see as the year plays out. But I think of previous film, I think you are right to say that, and that's why he didn't declare this year. Otherwise, if that worry wasn't there, he would have been the first overall pick. But because of that worry, I think he's shown consistent improvements, like you said, and I think he'll continue to prove without the year and prove the Klubnik haters wrong.
Nice, I like that. And who was 3? You had Fano at 3.
Klubnik, Caleb Downs.
Caleb Downs. So talk to me about Caleb Downs then.
So Caleb Downs, as went number 1 overall in the pod on the mock draft episode. Please go check that out. And I saw someone say online that he's a mixture of Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu, which I don't think I'd go as far to say, but he's a generational safety prospect. And I don't think those really come around ever. I think the last one I can think of was Jamal Adams in 2017 was called the best safety prospect.
That's a good shout.
I think his versatility, he moves like a corner in coverage. He can blitz like a linebacker. I think he is really a do-it-all player. The only question is safety a valuable enough position? I think if he can reach the heights of Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed, who are the GOATs in their position, if he can reach those heights, which are insane comparisons, yes, 100%. But if he's just above average or even a Pro Bowl level player, he's not worth the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. So I don't think a safety's ever worth that.
No. But he's my number 1 overall player because I think in pure talent, I think he is. I think when we do positional rankings and we get more of a big board going on later down the road, but I'll factor that more in. I made mistakes with factoring positional value too much in previous big boards, I can assure you. So early on, I'm just doing pure players who I think are the best, and I think Caleb Downs is the best player in college football.
Yeah, Caleb Downs is undeniably an elite talent, maybe one of the best players in college football, regardless of position, up there with Jeremiah Smith. With Caleb Downs, he plays such an interesting role because I asked Trevor, I was like, is he just, if I'm being a hater, is Caleb Downs just a box safety? Like, are you going to draft, Derwin James first overall, right? And I think that he isn't just a box safety. I think what Caleb Downs does so well is he plays that like rover role. He's in between where the linebackers are and where the safeties usually line up. And why that's important is because he's then not included in the box count. So the offense might think, oh, we've got an extra number in the run game. Caleb Downs comes firing downhill, makes a tackle behind the line of scrimmage from being like 8 yards off. That's the kind of player he is, and his vision is, and his game understanding and his athleticism. That's the edge he brings. But he is versatile. And what I question with the most of Downs really is, I want to see him continue to play the role that he plays in college. And I'm worried that when he goes to an NFL team, they'll want him to play a different role. So his role is actually quite specialised at the moment. He's kind of allowed to do what he likes. And I wonder if an NFL defensive coordinator will allow him to do that same thing. Because, we talk about safeties being drafted highly. Carl Hamilton, he was like 15 to the
14, mid first.
And you'd draft him higher than that, like you would. Like I think he should be a top 10 player. I don't think this is that. I don't think at the moment it's that strong a class overall. Actually, I think there's probably only going to be about like 20 first round grades for most people. And I think Caleb Downs will very comfortably be one of them. So he's an absolute talent. Keep an eye on Ohio State this year, not just for Caleb Downs, but also for Jeremiah Smith, who we'll be talking about next year, hopefully.
Yes, we will.
My third ranked player is TJ Parker, who you had 6?
6, yes.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 265 pounds, 51 pressures, 12 sacks. He's my edge 1. He's just a natural pass rusher. He's already showing different moves on tape. He's got one-hand swipe, speed to power, bull rush, long arm, rip move. And the results speak for themselves. He has produced already. He's got his footwork's on lock. He brings in this Euro step, which you see someone like a TJ Watt use or an Alex Highsmith use, and creates pushback with his punch. He's powerful. And he's just able to win later. His hands are so active that even if he doesn't win immediately, he can still eventually win. And that's also very important, kind of on that second surge. I think he's not that explosive off the line just yet. He's not winning with speed around the edge, which you kind of need to at least threaten offensive linemen with in the NFL with. And he's not a freakish athlete, which is often not a prerequisite for success, but is definitely one which all the best pass rushers in the league do have, right? Like Myles Garrett, insane athlete. TJ Watt, insane athlete. Micah Parsons, insane athlete. Abdul Carter, insane athlete. If he can have a dominant season this year, which I think he will with the Clemson team, with the Clemson defensive line, I think he will be a top 5 pick lock, I would say.
Yeah, I think I agree. I also think his 6 forced fumbles last year. He's a ball
Yeah.
hawk on the D line, which I think is an underrated thing that I think D lineman can really influence a game. I'm such a big fan of him, Dom. Who was the rest of your top three?
I had Klubnik 2, and then I had Peter Woods at 1, who's not in your top 10.
It's
That is
talk to convince me, Dom. Sell me on Peter Wood.
okay, that is bonkers. That is bonkers. Let Nu know in the comments. Let him know in the comments. Let him have it. Let him. What was it? What was that take you had? There was that really funny comment. Diabolical ball knowledge.
Diabolical ball knowledge. Yeah, that's
Diabolical ball knowledge. Nu is back. No, I will say that actually the list on the whole, I do really agree with that. I'm just shocked that Peter Woods in the top 10. He for me is my number one player in the class because he is that level of player. He's that guy. He plays nasty. He's manhandling offensive linemen. He's shrugging off blockers. He's hitting quarterbacks. There's a play against Texas where they're running outside zone and he stiff arms the center and the guard at the same play to keep him in his own gap, and the running back runs right into him. Like he's like clip farming at defensive tackle, basically. And he's got great power to stack and shed offensive linemen. His highlight reel is literally him just chucking them aside like they're children, like they're not even there. He's just in total control. He's a legit pass rusher as well. He's got reps where he lines up at wide 9 as an edge in a 2-point stance, and he's got the speed to get around the edge. He's that good. He's 6'2", 315 pounds. That's a bowling ball of a man right there. He's really quick. I want to see him though be on the field more. He's got to up his conditioning. He's got a really low snap count, and it needs to go up. Right, you're not going to draft a player top 10 if he's not going to be on the field for you basically every snap for the most part. He needs to finish as well. He's got 40 pressures over 2 years, but only 3 sacks. So I want to see him convert those pressures into sacks. And then my bottom line for Peter Woods is that he's a guy you build your defense around. He is just that, if you're the Saints, for example, and you want to stick with Shook, let's say, Peter Woods is the guy that you need to draft because he is that level of prospect. And if he takes another step, I think he is in that elite tier of defensive tackle prospects for me.
Yeah, I'm worried about his snap count, Dom. I really am. I do think that is cause for concern because as a defensive tackle in the NFL, being a third down, being there for all 3 downs is so important. That's why Dexter Lawrence and Chris Jones make their money. But I do think his athleticism is undeniable, and I'm sure by next time we do this list, he will be in my top 10.
Yeah, and let's just then talk very briefly before we wrap up, on Arch Manning. So the latest on Arch Manning is that he is not going to declare for the NFL draft this year. He has been at Texas now for 2 years, redshirt in his first year, so a little bit of playing time last year, being the kind of backup to Quinn Ewers, and is massively hyped. Right, Arch Manning is one of the most hyped names in college football already. Do you think, Noom, that his decision or maybe not his decision at the moment, it's his grandfather's decision or whoever ruled it out. Do you think at the moment where we stand that is the right decision?
Yes, I do. I think he's getting paid. He's the highest paid NIL athlete in college, regardless of sports. I think it's something like $7-8 million a year. I think if he might declare if the Saints get the number 1 overall pick because his grandfather Archie played for the Saints and that script writes itself. But staying in college is only beneficial. And I think if he wins a natty, he declares. I think if there's enough pressure for him to play for the Saints, he'll declare. But if there's I think it's clever that he's staying. There's a reason why in his class, most other quarterbacks transferred. He sat for 2 years when he was the highest, most built-up prospect of all time. Whoever's managing him, whether that's his dad, Archie, and Eli's brother, or his grandfather, Archie Manning,
or Eli and
Payton themselves, they really know what they're doing. And I think he will stay in college another year, and I think that is only good for him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the NFL has shown with Anthony Richardson that it's not really in the business of developing quarterback talent really anymore. I think that Manning has all the talent in the world, and in his short time has looked like the real deal, right? Like in limited circumstances last year, he was really good. But he hasn't had a full year as a starter yet. And like you say, he's not in any rush. He's already sat for 2 years. He's clearly very patient. He's being advised by people that know the league and know people in the league. And I think that you're right. It is only beneficial. And I think that even if he wasn't a Manning, he'd be more likely to stay in school. Like it's not even about the money for him. He doesn't even need the NIL money, right? Like he is a Manning. He's always going to, be
generational wealth.
Fine financially. Yeah. I think that it's the right decision for him to stay. And I think that the only way I could see him coming out is if he wins a natty and wins a Heisman. And I think that both are possible, considering Texas's strength of their team, Arch Manning's ability as well. I think both those things are possible. So that's something to keep an eye out on. That's why he's not ranked in our top 10 now. He's going to have an NA next to him on the screen because I don't think he's going to come out. I don't think he should come out. He could. I'd put that possibility now at 10%, maybe with a Natty, maybe with a Heisman, maybe with the Saints picking first overall. That might go to, I would say, at most 50. I think it'll still be a coin toss. But he is an unreal talent. He might come out this year. If he does, we'll talk about him more. Keep an eye out for him this year in the draft. And if not, definitely next year. But you can see on the screen now, mine and News' first top 10 rankings, doing this in August, the earliest we've ever done it. These are, as I say, inevitably going to change. But let us know your thoughts. Do you agree with our rankings? Do you disagree? Is there someone we haven't included? Someone we have too high? Someone we have too low? Let us know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe for more NFL draft content. We do it the best over here, I would argue, this side of the pond at Corbs NFL. So make sure you subscribe. You do not want to miss a video. Mock drafts, guest mock drafts. It's all going to be happening right here. But I've been your host, Dom Corbs. That's my co-host, Nick Corbs. We'll see you on the next video.
See ya.